You wake up, put on your Ray-Ban Meta glasses. You're living all in. You realize you need coffee. So you say,
"Hey, Meta, how do I make a latte?"
Brew 2 shots of espresso.
After Meta AI gets you caffeinated, you're ready for some beats.
"Hey, Meta, play hip-hop music."
You head to meet some friends, but can't remember the place.
"Hey, Meta, call Eva."
Ray-Ban Meta glasses, the next generation of AI glasses. Just say, "Hey, Meta," to harness the power of Meta AI. Shop now at meta.com/smartglasses.
Hey, it is Ryan Seacrest. There's something so thrilling about playing Chumba Casino. Maybe it's the simple reminder that with a little luck, anything is possible. ChumbaCasino.com has hundreds of social casino-style games to choose from with new game releases each week. Play for free anytime, anywhere for your chance to redeem some serious prizes. Join me in the fun. Sign up now at ChumbaCasino.com. Sponsored by Chumba Casino. No purchase necessary. VGW Group. Void where prohibited by law. 18 plus. Terms and conditions apply.
Take a deep dive into the stories making the news headlines across the world.
The news agents.
We're not just here to tell you what's happening, but why. From me, Emily Maitlis.
And me, John Sopel.
With Global's award-winning podcast, The News Agents, dropping daily, covering everything you need to know about politics and current affairs.
And The News Agents USA.
Listening to The News Agents on America's #1 podcast network, iHeart. Open your free iHeart app and search The News Agents to start listening.
Jonny Athletic, Jonny Athletic, Jonny Athletic, and he's on the Dan Barrero right now.
He is on via the Connecticut Water Systems hotline. You're not back at, are you still, did you never leave Target Center today, or are you coming back a little bit later since it's a late start?
Oh, no, I'm in the belly of the beast, Dan.
Right now.
For a game this big,
you can't.
Got to be down here.
Can't get enough.
Be down here.
Let me ask you a question. Is it possible your guy, Cat, has been playing a little bit of a, pardon the pun, cat and mouse game with us when he said, somebody asked him, I think, in the one of the New York media jackals the other day about, what kind of reaction he expected. And he went with I don't know. I'm not exactly sure what I'm going to expect. Was that his way of sending out the notion that, God, he was really concerned that might not be all that warm or not that positive when and I know it's going to be pretty warm, it's going to be pretty positive, and it was his own subtle way to make even more sure that will be the case?
Yeah, I'm not sure about the motivation there, Dan, because one thing, that we can say absolutely is during Cat's 9 years here, the relationship with many fans was complicated. He took a lot of the blame for the Timberwolves' struggles during his time here. Some of that was very well deserved. Some of that was very unfair. But he was kind of the lightning rod. And so I think certainly in the last couple of years as they built their success and went to the playoffs and got to the Western Conference Finals and all of those things, you saw more of the crowd get onto his side again. But I do think he remembers times, the Jimmy Butler situation and several others, where it was a fan base that said, why aren't you winning more for us? And so I think there was a little bit of that. Now, since he's been gone, I do think the appreciation has absolutely grown for him. I think there is a recognition of everything that he did while he was here. And the reception he gets tonight, I really do anticipate is going to be very warm, very welcoming, but he hasn't been around to kind of really understand how the sentiment has maybe turned a little bit in his favor. So there could be a little bit of a gun shyness there, just wondering about, how people feel about him because he didn't get to say goodbye to them and really feel anything. And so I do think that there is a little bit of wonder on his part about just what it's going to be like when he walks in there tonight.
Do you believe that deep down, if they were each of them was strapped to a polygraph machine, that a majority of current Minnesota Timberwolves players would say they miss him?
Well, I think they would say they miss him in terms of the personality. I do think that they liked him, even if some of them would kind of roll their eyes big brotherly at some of the corny stuff that he would say. There was just a general energy with him that I think they all kind of realize is different this year. It is quieter in that locker room without him. And when they are going through difficult times, Cat would say something silly or funny or just plain dumb, and it would get a laugh, and I think it would lighten the mood, and they don't have that as much this season. So I think they would say that they missed that. I think that there is also an anticipation, not just from the players, but from people in the organization who were factoring into making this decision, that they were going to be better than they have been so far competitively. I do think that there is a belief, and there was, that this was not just a money deal, that they thought that this team could become a better version of the Timberwolves than even last year's team was. That has not come to fruition yet. So we'll see if that formulates over the course of it. But yeah, this was not a situation where, when he got traded, everyone was like, well, we have no chance now. I believe there was real belief in this team and everything. And maybe they're kind of realizing a little bit, exactly what Cat brought to the table, and are reckoning with that a little bit, while also believing that over the long haul, they'll be okay.
How has he played in New York?
I mean, really, really well. I mean, certainly defensively, he still has challenges, but he has moved back to the center spot, which he played here, obviously, before Rudy Gobert arrived. And that was always, Chris Finch said it with us yesterday at practice. They always viewed Cat at center as a cheat code for great offense, because he can get the big guys on him and he can take them outside and hit threes. He can go to the basket. He leads the NBA in rebounding. If you watch him this season, he does seem to be playing with a little bit more toughness, a little just bit more intentionality. There's not as much hesitation in his game or anything like that. And so he's been just terrific offensively for one of the very best offenses in the league. He and Jalen Brunson are a devastating pick and roll combination, and he is piling up numbers from an efficiency, shooting, rebounding standpoint, like he did earlier in his career here. And that changed just a little bit when he moved to the power forward spot here.
Are we doing the proverbial pregame, video highlight package to salute his return? How are the Wolves as an organization going to play it tonight?
Yeah, I think they're going to go. I will say, I don't want to spoil anything for anyone, but they will go, I would say, above and beyond what you normally see from a returning player. Usually they get a nice little tribute video, like at the first time out of the first quarter or something like that, to welcome the person back. Ricky Rubio, Tyus Jones, Kevin Love, all these guys. I think Cat's going to get more than that tonight. It's not going to be over the top. It's not going to be crazy. But there's going to be several gestures made toward him just to let everyone know that this isn't just, any returning player. This is, as of right now, the second best player in franchise history, 9-year guy who spent 9 years here, a guy who was incredible in the community here, ended up winning some at the end of his career, and all those things. So they're definitely going to make this a special night that goes above and beyond what you normally see for a returning player.
Will Jiggly Boy be there?
That's a great question. He was more of a KG era guy than a Cat era guy. So I don't know, but it would be nice. I know that Cat would enjoy it because of his affinity for KG. I talked to Cat for about 20 minutes today after shoot around, and he's very emotional. He's very much looking forward to this and seeing a million people who he hasn't seen before, or in a long time, I should say. And so if Jiggly Boy was in the stands, I think he would give him a wave and get a pretty good laugh at it. But I'm guessing they'll try to go a little bit more modern era with it. In
his heart of hearts, do you think, despite the success, and he's obviously, found a niche there pretty quickly, it appears, he obviously knows that market, that deep down, Cat would still rather be here?
I'm not rather. Yeah, I would say, I can't speak for him that way, right. But I will say this. I did talk to him about just his emotions of of being traded. Mm-hmm. And he said it to me kind of, privately, Dan, is that he never in a million years expected to be traded, despite all of the speculation and all of the rumors over the last several years about it. He just always thought he was going to be in Minnesota. He was determined to end his career here. He said, I had talked with my family about it. I talked with my agent about it. This is where I wanted to be. I did not want to go. And so that was reiterated, even though he is back in New York. He's close to New Jersey where he grew up. The Knicks are close to his father's heart. His mom loved the Knicks as well. He's an East Coast guy, and he's playing very well there. They have a chance to do great things with the Knicks, but you can tell that there is still just a deep affinity for this team and for this organization, and this is where he grew up. This is where he got to know Flip and lost him very early. This is where he lost his mother. There are so many emotional things that are tied to this place that I think he would have rather been here at the start of it. We'll see how his Knicks career ends. We'll see how this season goes. But if he had his choice in September and October, he would have rather been here and not been traded at all.
Who guards him tonight?
Well, I think they're probably going to throw a few at him. Now, historically, when he was with the Timberwolves, the thing that worked best against Cat was when a team would put the power forward on him and then use a rim protector to kind of shade off of someone else and help at the rim. But generally speaking, this year, the Wolves have put Rudy on any kind of real threat in the front court. And then because Julius Randle is not, a real defensive presence, they put him elsewhere. I think, honestly, Dan, especially on an emotional night like this where Cat is going to be charged up, I would put Julius Randle on him and have, Gobert helping off of Anunoby or off of Josh Hart and doing things that way, because Cat is going to try to be aggressive. He's going to try to be assertive and have a big night. And I think that the Wolves would be better off trying to use that aggression against him in some way, as happened a lot when he was with the Timberwolves.
So this sizes up going in as sort of the cliched irresistible force, immovable object, to the extent that the Wolves defense has obviously been very good lately, not from the beginning of the season, but very good. And the Knicks have been one of the top 2 or 3 most efficient, explosive, offensive teams in the league. So that's part of, beyond the Cat aspect of it, that's probably the most intriguing angle tonight, correct?
Yeah, 100%. I mean, I'm really looking forward to just the basketball part of this matchup as well, Dan, because the Wolves truly have reached a completely different stratosphere defensively over the last 10 days to 14 days. I mean, they are not just stopping teams, they are suffocating them. Now, to add a caveat to that, a lot of the opponents they've played are mediocre or worse. They played the Lakers twice. They're terrible. They played the Warriors twice. I think the Warriors are overrated. I don't think they're very good. So you kind of look at some of the opponents that they have had, and good for them for really finding it and finding an intensity and playing hard, and San Antonio another one, and really doing what they have to do defensively. But this is a real test tonight. This is going to be a team that has shot makers all over the floor, that spreads you out, that can make threes at a high rate. And then you have the Cat Brunson pick and roll, which is just an incredible weapon. And you know that Tibbs is going to play 6 guys. And so, they're going to try and win this thing. And so that's going to be a really interesting thing to see how this Wolves defense now steps up in weight class against a real heavyweight offense here, and how they react to it.
To me, the crucial question moving forward, really beyond this single matchup, Cat coming back, involving the Wolves, is whether the precedent that the Wolves seemed to set when the last big trade they made took some time to start to work. The question at that point was, do you blow it up fast because you realize it's not going to get better, or do you give it a chance, everything a chance to settle? And obviously with the Gobert trade, they said we're staying the course, and they got the payoff last year. To me, the same applies. Again, it's a crucial question. Do you give this trade as up and down? I've called it squishy to this point. That it has appeared to this point. Do you say don't panic, don't overreact, give it time for us to figure it out, for the players to figure it out, and like the last time, you'll end up seeing a payoff? That is everything, I think. Where are you on that rather significant question?
Yeah, I am in that boat, Dan, in terms of, I know that there are so many Wolves fans right now who are cursing Tim Connolly, they're going through the exact same thing they did with the Rudy Gobert trade when he first came in. It was, Tim is an idiot. How could you disrupt the chemistry of this team? You're bringing this guy in who can't play anymore, all of these things. And then slowly but surely, they came around and they put together the very best team overall that this franchise has ever had last year. I firmly believe they're the best team that's ever played in a Wolves uniform. And so this is kind of very similar. I mean, Julius Randle's been up and down. Dante DiVincenzo hasn't hit a shot. And Cat is putting up all these huge numbers. And so a lot of the fans immediately want Julius out of here. They want Cat back. They want all of these things. And I think that what the Wolves are doing is preaching patience. That's why Chris Finch has not changed the starting lineup. That's why, you're seeing a lot of the same rotation, is that he believes that if you stick with this group, that eventually they are going to figure things out and become a tougher out in the playoffs than even last year's team was. I think that the vision is that this team can be more versatile, more shot makers, more shot creators, and they can be a little deeper and a little tougher than they were last year. And maybe that's exactly what they need going into these playoffs. But this is a long-range thing that they're looking at right now. They are not making decisions based off of what happens tonight, based off of what's happened in the first 20, 25 games of this season. They're going to let it play out, and I do not blame them for taking that approach.
Yeah, it's the key question. In terms of the sort of an update, I guess you could say, on Dante, I mentioned some of the shooting statistics that you know well from him. I think his corner threes, he's way down from what used to be his number one shot. I think overall he's at 32%. Those are not workable numbers. They're not numbers that he's expected to stay at. But, I mean, how concerned are you about him finding the stroke, him finding the place? Because let's be honest, whatever misgivings that many of us might have about some aspects of Randle's game, the key to this deal was always going to be DiVincenzo being not a good player, but being a great player. And we have not really seen that on a consistent basis to this point.
Yeah, and so, I've talked to Dante about this a lot. I've talked to Finch about this a lot. I do think that, for me, I anticipated, Dan, that this was going to be a seamless transition. A great shooter, good defender, wing player is going to just come right in and just not miss a beat. But I think that the more that you talk to everyone involved, this is a whole different ball of wax here for Dante DiVincenzo. In New York last year, he was starting every game in the last half of the season, including all the playoffs. He's playing 38 minutes a night. He's getting a ton of shots every single game. He had a rhythm and everything available to him that now he comes to Minnesota. He's coming off of the bench, playing like 25, 26 minutes a game. He is getting his shots in a little different way in this offense, more basically like kind of coming off of movement rather than kind of catch and shoot and pin downs and those types of things. And so I think that he has had a harder time adjusting to what is being asked of him here. He's also been asked to do a little bit more point guardy stuff, I think, than he was asked to do in New York. And all of that has kind of taken him out of his comfort zone. Now, I do believe that eventually he and the team are going to find some sort of happy medium to get him in a group. He is too talented to shoot 32% from three and like 28% from the corners all year long. That's just not in his DNA. But I do think that there is kind of, in a smaller version of what Rudy had, there's going to have to be a little compromise on both sides of this to get the player into more spots where he's comfortable, but then the player also has to be a little bit more open to suggestion and ideas for creating things for him and others. The one thing I will say that I like about Dante right now, Dan, is he's still throwing the ball to Rudy. And he had a lot of turnovers with that early on in the season, but he's sticking with it, throwing the lob pass to him, and it's starting to pay off there. So he hasn't lost trust in that, and that needs to continue. But, yeah, they got to find a way to just get him in more of a rhythm shooting the ball, because that's where he's at his most dangerous.
I want to read two quotes to you from NBA fans and get your reaction to both of them, because they're on kind of a similar theme, but they have very different observations that they're offering up. One of them is from Dan Patrick. It feels like, speaking of NBA basketball right now, this is late night TV. It used to be you'd stay up and watch Carson, Letterman, Leno. Now you just get a clip that you see the next day. That feels like what the NBA is becoming, a viral clip that you'll see the next day. You may not stay up and actually watch the games. Rick Pitino, Richard's dad, this is a separate quote. It's been reported that the NBA ratings are down 28% this year alone. Suggestion: bring back hand checking and more physicality. The players are too strong, too quick, and have become amazing shooters. So very different observations, but all having to do with the same sort of, it's become kind of the viral story the last week or two, as you know. Ratings down. Does the league have a real fundamental problem? Barkley has talked about a little of this too much, or there's too many three-pointers, etc. What do you make of those observations from Patrick and Pitino?
Yeah, I've heard those observations. I've heard a lot of critiques of the game and things like that. And I think there are some valid concerns, particularly about sort of the homogenization of offense and how much you rely on three-point shots, and how every team basically has to play the same way. And that if you're just watching a shooting contest every night, that can be a little bit of a turnoff. I do think what we did see the referees really loosen up their whistle last season as the season went along and in the playoffs. And I think that helped things from an entertainment standpoint, from a play style standpoint. I think that was good for the game. I think they've opened up this season a little bit tight, but I think those whistles will again loosen as the season goes along, and that will help. I've heard other things about maybe we don't have enough American stars right now, and maybe it's too woke, or all these other things. And honestly, Dan, here's where I really kind of come down on it right now. I think that there are just too many games in the NBA. And I know that, the league is not in a hurry to shorten the season or do anything like that. But you can see with load management, with just the regular intensity of games, with having to shoehorn this in-season tournament into the regular season, which I actually like because it has ratcheted up the intensity some bit. These games have to matter more to the players and the organizations. And if they don't matter to the players and the organizations, the fans pick up on that, and they don't feel compelled to have to watch every night. If they played 60 games and every game meant so much more, I think you would see better, stronger, more intense play, and I would think you would see more fan interest. I think in this era of so many entertainment options, there are just too many other things that can pull a fan's attention away. And so these games have to mean more. And until they address that, I think they're going to have a hard time.
One last question away from the world of professional basketball. You obviously at Target Center, where the Wolves will be hosting Karl Anthony Towns, Tibbs, and the Knicks. Are you ready to proclaim today on 100,000 watt radio and the iHeart radio app that the Minnesota Vikings will steal the division away from the incredibly injury-ravaged Detroit Lions?
You know what, Dan? I will say it. Why not? Let's just throw it out there. You look at what Detroit has gone through from an injury standpoint, and you look at the way that the Vikings are playing. I think that obviously this weekend at Seattle is going to be tough. Mm-hmm. But I think the Seahawks are more than beatable, and I think the Vikings should go there and win. And then you have the really tough showdown with the Packers at home, the following week. But if they can get through these next 2 weeks and then get to the walking wounded in Detroit, yes, I think they can win that game and win the division and have maybe home field advantage throughout the playoffs, depending on what happens with Philadelphia and all the strength of schedule and, tiebreaker stuff that factors into that. But, I will say that I think the Vikings almost have to do that, Dan. I don't think they want to go on the road in the playoffs at all here, as much as possible. So not only will they, but I think they kind of have to give themselves the best chance for a deep run here.
You're on record right there. I don't think Archie was ready for it. I think he's like, whoa,
where's your, where do you stand on it? Are you giving me an equally bold proclamation?
I don't think so, because I think I have this sneaking suspicion that we're going to lose to Green Bay here.
Come on, Gerby.
We beat them there, and I just feel like, okay, I can sort of see that being a split. I think Green Bay's sneaky good too, and it's like there'd be so much anticipation to get to that Detroit game, right, where it is all on the line there. Well, what tends to happen in situations like that? Well, you don't get there because something else happens. And I don't think that would mean the Vikings stink. I think, like I said, the Packers are good, and we took care of them there. I could see them coming in here and winning. That's my hunch. If they get to that game, as you said, then I think you like their chances, although I don't want to discount Detroit totally because it feels like they can score 50 anyway. Now their defense is a mess, but maybe they give up 56. I guess that's the issue with them, is they're giving up a bunch of points even as they're scoring a bunch.
Well, see, this is where you and I kind of diverge, Dan, because I just always kind of revert to
positivity.
Our beloved Ricky Rubio, and I just believe.
Yeah, you do believe.
And apparently you do not.
Well, tonight especially, I think you're caught up in the Cat emotion tonight.
Did you stay at his house, too, like he did? Did the whole family sleep over at Cat's house last night?
I'm offended I didn't get an invitation.
I heard Hines and Frederick were there. Dane Moore, I think, was there. Where were you?
Should have.
I'm just going to rip him tonight because of it.
I think you have to, especially if he commits 3 early fouls in the first 6 minutes and has to go to the bench. By the way, one other trade rumor, real quick. So I don't know. I don't think this is real. It's a proposal that I saw online. Mm-hmm. Somebody said, I wish I could give them proper credit because I don't remember where I read it, but what the suggestion was, as hard as it is to think about, given how important Mike Conley has been to the club, a feeling that we got to get another guard here because the kid is just not, whether he should play or not, he's not going to play for a while. And so the proposal was, would this team actually be better balanced and better served if you found a way to acquire DeJounte Murray from, I think, New Orleans? The assumption there would be Randall would be the guy that would have to go. I have no idea if they'd have any interest in him. But as a hypothetical in terms of mix of players, is that preposterous? Is that insane? Is there something there where then you would have almost Conley maybe as, a very valuable backup where the minutes would get split up? Does that make any sense to you, or do you think that's absurd?
So it would be like roughly Randall for Murray. Murray. Yeah, because I was going to say if you involve Conley in that trade, Chris Finch may just get on the plane with him.
No, Conley stays. Conley stays. We're all in on that too because he's on the show.
Yeah. I would say it's an interesting thing to think about because they do need more help at point guard. I think that Chris should just play Rob Dillingham. I know that he's hesitant to do it. But if he needs veterans, you look at that because then you can just put Naz Reid in the starting lineup at power forward and kind of, I think it makes you a little more pliable that way. But I don't think that's that's nothing that I have heard discussed internally. I don't think that is a big thing that is, a possibility right now. But the idea of moving Randall for a guard, a point guard, a ball handler is not, not a terrible one at all when you look at what this team needs. They also need a backup big.
They do.
And a rim protector. Yep. So there's several things, but that's not one that I would summarily dismiss. I just don't think it's very likely.
Enjoy tonight. I will be watching from the Barca, and we'll talk. And Merry Christmas to you and yours. We'll talk soon.
Happy holidays to everyone, Dan, and I'll talk to you soon. All right.
Thank you. That is great stuff on a number of subjects from our guy, John Krasinski. I hate to do this. We're going to break and come back and get a quickie prediction segment because we're contractually obligated to chat with Carl.
The only thing better than the holidays are holidays packed with NFL games. Kicking off Thursday, December 19th with an AFC West showdown.
Touchdown Chargers!
Then a Saturday doubleheader. 12 games Sunday with a battle in Lambeau on Monday night.
Oh, what a play! What a catch!
And a Christmas Day doubleheader for the ages on Netflix.
Oh, sweet Marie!
That's how the NFL does the holidays.
40, he could go! 50! Intercepted! And a touchdown! To the 10! He will score!
It's time for the Bumper to Bumper award-winning NFL prediction segment on The Fan. Brought to you by Continental Diamond. Now, to help you break down this week's games, here's your favorite NFL wonk, Dan Barrero.
Excuse me? Sorry about that. Had to take a quick phone call. Nothing, too urgent or emergency of nature, but still had to be done on this snowy day. We're going to do just like with Sean Salisbury, kind of a quick prediction segment today with Carl Gerbschmidt. Different reasons. In the case of Salisbury, is because his schedule was tight. In this case, it's because I think we may be getting kind of sick of each other. Are you sick of me, Carl? Because I'm kind of... Oh, my God.
What's that, Dan?
What are you doing?
Hold on, I got to turn this music down.
Yeah, it doesn't even sound like music.
I'm getting ready for our Christmas party.
I can't wait. This is going to have to be a really fast-moving edition of the prediction segment.
Okay, let's do it, Dan. Let's pick the games. I'm on fire.
Your musical selections don't sound very good for your big event.
What are you talking about, Dan? It's Paul McCartney. He's a Beatle.
Yeah,
you don't like the Beatles, Dan.
I love the Beatles, but it's not a good song.
Yeah, sure you do. Dan. Now you'd say you do.
It's not a good song.
As soon as I called you on your silly opinion.
On my what? I called him.
Silly opinion.
No, my opinion has never been anti-Beatles. Believe me, I've actually defended the Beatles in this building many, many times, but I never liked.
We got a bunch of Beatles haters over there.
We got a few. Yeah, or it's the kids. Yeah? They don't know any better. They before their time, so they can't be important or can't matter.
Carl, I know you're on a run with lawsuits right now.
We currently have no legal action.
No pending litigation. Well, what I'm saying is to help you out, don't play the music too loud because management has told us, we can't really put music in the podcast. So if you put too much Beatles in, the bill's going to go to you when we get fined. So I don't want you to have any further litigation.
That's a good point.
Yeah, I'm trying to help. I'm trying to help out.
That right away.
Yeah.
I was under the impression a lot of those would be old songs. I guess that one's not that old.
Not old enough.
No, nothing off YouTube either, please.
Gerby, you were 3-0. I was 3-0 last week.
Damn straight I was.
Guardsy was 2-1. So it's a tight race. Gerby in first at 26-19. Guardsy a game behind at 25-20. I'm 2 behind. Gerby 1 behind Guardsy at 24.
We're like the NFC North.
And 21. Yeah, we're all above 500.
And I'm like the Packers. That's right.
Have you got your shopping done yet? Your Christmas shopping done, by the way?
You know what? I think the greatest invention in the history of mankind is Amazon.
Yeah.
Because, you used to have to go around and go to store after store after store, and you put up with all these crowds. And you go to the malls, and there's this, people stop in the middle of a mall.
They do.
Just stop.
They do.
It's like, what the hell? Keep walking.
Yeah.
I mean, it's like, just because and I don't even understand what the hell you're stopping in front of. Now, it's not like it's Victoria's Secret or nothing you're stopping in front of.
That's Randy.
But, calm down, Randy.
Oh, Randy likes that. He does enjoy that store.
Yeah.
And if you back in the day when you're a kid and you get lost in the mall, and your mom would always say, well, go and just stay here and you be right here.
Yep.
And Randy now goes right in front of Victoria's Secret.
That's his spot. That's his go-to spot.
You know where to find him?
So you know where to find Randy at all times.
Seems creepy to me. Do they look askance when he tries to come into the store?
Well, he doesn't go in.
He just sort of looks. He leers from the outside.
He knows he's not supposed to be doing that.
Yeah, that's probably smart.
You don't do that. No.
Is wearing women's underwear part of his turn on? Would you say?
I don't think so.
But you're not sure.
But why do you ask? Is that something you're into?
It's an old joke. It's an old common man joke involving a former play-by-play guy.
Not very funny.
None of us are. All right, let's get to the games here.
Let's get to those games, Dan.
The Saturday game on the list that Guardsy's put together is Baltimore hosting the very surprising Pittsburgh Steelers. Baltimore by 6.
Wait. There's 3 big games in the NFC Central this week, and you're going off the board and picking something else?
It's the NFC North, first of all, and there's 2 big games, kind of.
Who are you playing?
3 big games.
Who are you playing? Who are the Packers playing? Are you okay, Carl?
Oh, no.
I think my phone's busted. I don't hear these guys.
You still there, Carl?
Carl, can you hear us now? Carl?
Hello? What the hell happened?
We've heard you the whole...
Hello?
What's going on? What are you, Lavelli Neal the Third? You got his phone?
Can you hear us?
I don't think
I can hear you now. Now I hear you.
We heard you the whole
you
time.
Cut out. It's like you're halfway. I was trying to, emphasize the importance of the 3 big games.
Hello?
Hello?
Can you hear us? Hello?
Hello? What the hell kind of bull crap is this phone?
Wiz not paying their bills?
They're so backwards. Okay, hello?
Hello?
They played the Saints on Sunday Night Football.
Nobody cares about you and the Saints.
It's just an embarrassing game that they get to play.
Ravens favored by 6.5 over the Steelers.
What are we talking about? Everybody cares about that game.
Ravens will not only win, they will cover at home, even though that's a lot of points. I'm going to take the Ravens.
Go back to my computer. Hold on.
Happy for you. Guardsy, you're next.
I think it's a little too rich. I think they're going to win. Ravens are good. My guy Rashad Bateman is finally healthy. He's
Are you trying to give me a slip up here near the end?
He's doing good things for them.
Probably.
The Ravens are going to win, but I think my other guy, Mike Tomlin, is going to make things. It's going to be tighter in an AFC North battle. So I'll pick the
Gerby?
Steelers to cover.
Pittsburgh is 8-1 straight up in the last 9 games playing Baltimore. I don't know if you guys know that or not. So I think I kind of agree with Jordan, where I don't think necessarily Pittsburgh's going to win, but I do think that they're going to cover.
Pittsburgh's about to get exposed.
Hello?
Are you Adele?
Hello?
Lions in Chicago to take on the Bears. Lions also favored by 6.5.
Are you going to use that game?
It's intriguing. It's the number 1 team in the first place conference right now.
First place team against the sexy Chicago Bears.
This is why you guys, you watch what happens to you.
Lions,
you're going to get what you deserve.
Lions,
it's Christmas time.
Lions will cover. Gertzy?
The Bears, this is their last stand. I gotta either separate. I gotta take some chances.
That's what I'm trying to do too. Basically, I'll admit.
What's the number on this?
6.5.
I think it's too many points. The Lions can't stop anybody, and even though Caleb Williams is going to hold on to the ball for 42 seconds every time he drops back, I don't think the Lions have anybody that can stop him. So I'm going to take the Bears to cover.
Gerby?
Well, see, the thing is, you can just tell Chicago's just terrible. I mean, they have quit. I mean, you see them last week. They just quit. It's like they put up no effort at all. And so, and Minnesota barely squeaked by him. So
Gibbs might run
Detroit
for 280 yards.
I'll take Detroit
because he's going to be the guy on the field the whole game.
I don't like it. I'm not happy about it because Detroit needs to lose.
I'm going all favorites. Vikings in Seattle. We're going with 3.5 over the Seahawks. Vikings will cover that 3.5. I'm taking obviously the favorite in each and saying they're going to cover on each occasion. Guardsy.
I take the Vikings as well. Just a pathetic effort against a very ordinary team by the Seahawks last weekend at home. Sunday Night Football. Are you
kidding me? We knocked Geno Smith out of the game.
Embarrassing effort against a team that
if he doesn't
is
play
just
this week,
okay.
you can send us a nice thank you.
So I take the Vikings. Because they're surging.
Well,
they're hunting. They're hunting greatness, according to KOC in the locker room. They're hunting now.
I told you before we are going to finish ahead of Minnesota. And that's a fact. That's just going to happen.
Hello?
So, and I tried. So when this happens, I don't want you people crying or being mad at me because it's not like it's my fault. I just try to break it to you easy. It's kind of like a Christmas present I'm giving you. Is that you're going to lose at some point, and it's going to be this point. You got, number 1, short week. Number 2, going out west. You got to go play against Seattle. Seattle is pretty motivated because we kicked them pretty good, so they're going to bounce back this week. I'm pretty sure of that. And the fact that I get 3.5 points when Seattle's playing at home, come on, that's the easiest. That's a piece of cake. Seattle's going to cover this easy. Probably win the game. And then the following week, you know what's going to happen? We'll be tied with Minnesota. We need Detroit to lose. Got to find somebody to beat Detroit. Hello? 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 Damn phone doesn't work.
He's gone.
Hello?
Carl? He actually left that time.
I didn't hear him hang up.
Maybe he went silent a little bit too long.
He was at the office. He's gone.
I think that's it.
It's a good strategy.
I kind of like these new, shorter Gerby segments.
Time now for the Vikings Report on The Fan, presented by Miller Lite. Vikings safety Cam Bynum joins Barrero next after this from Miller Lite.
The only thing better than the holidays are holidays packed with NFL games. Kicking off Thursday, December 19th with an AFC West showdown.
Touchdown Chargers!
Then a Saturday doubleheader. 12 games Sunday with a battle in Lambeau on Monday night.
Oh, what a play! What a catch!
And a Christmas Day doubleheader for the ages on Netflix.
Oh, sweet Marie!
That's how the NFL does the holidays.
Snow-nami! It's not about the snow-nami, it's about what the snow-nami represents!
So there's your winner. First snowfall, first major significant storm, if you want to call it that, of the Minnesota winter in the books. And there were a lot of great options, including Karl Anthony Towns. And I would have been fine with that. But I think this is the moment to have a little bit of fun and a little bit of snark playing off of the now infamous Kirk Cousins comment going back to contract discussions last year when he was still a member of the Minnesota Vikings. And we want to thank, as always, our good friend Ryan Donaldson, who is always at the ready.
Even
when
in the
it's Snow-nami season. Yeah, he was, you said he didn't have to twist his arm.
No.
He was right on top of it.
New father, Ryan Donaldson.
Is that right?
You know, I mean, he's got
That's
the baby at home.
Well, so he's got a little bit more, well, a little more and a little less time, I guess, depending how you want to look at it. Is he Mr. Mom right now?
Yeah, I don't think time has ever been his issue.
That's a good point. But
so as we praise him, we can also rip him.
The inflections were perfect once again. So that's your first Snow-nami of this winter season. There may be more coming, but I do think this is earlier than we had a year ago. I don't think we had any before Christmas. You want to talk about the yin and the yang of it real quick before we get back? We're going to have to get caught up a little bit. We'll have a short top five at 5. Ben Gessling at 5:30, out at 6 today. These are back-to-back texts that came in. Sad you shorted the best segment on your show.
Wow.
I guess I'll just turn it over to Jack and listen to Remy Maxwell play crappy music from now on at 3 p.m. And right before that one, there was this. Dan and JG, I know you have Nielsen's for every segment of your show, which I truly enjoy almost daily, letting you know what is popular and what is not. But there are 2 words that cause me to consistently turn the dial or turn bumper to bumper off. Karl Gerbschmidt. Right now,
why don't you put your pants back on?
I am rereading today's Star Tribune while I wait until I think Gerbschmidt is off the air. That's Ray and Hawkins.
He's polarizing.
That's the proof of it. I mean, you can't get any more contrasting views regarding the Karl Gerbschmidt segment than those two. Shorted the best segment on your show to, I'm going to reread for the 3rd time the Star Tribune just so I don't have to listen to his nonsense or this nonsense. So there you have it. That's, I think,
at different times we agree with both of those texters.
Yeah, I think that's fair to say. I think that's a good way to look at it, but I think it's here to stay for a while. I mean, who knows? At some point, I could see a schism. Well, actually, we've had schisms
for sure,
but I could see
we've
schisms
weathered some storms.
We have. That's very, very true, Davey. Top 5 at 5. What do you have for us?
A Twins nugget.
Oh.
That'll probably, speaking of schisms, annoy people. A Vikings injury report, and Karl Anthony Towns on his return to Target Center.
ET is Ryan Seacrest here. People always say it's good to unwind, but that's easier said than done. The exception, Chumba Casino. They actually make it easier done than said, or at least the same. Chumba Casino is an online social casino with hundreds of casino-style games like slots and blackjack. Play for fun. Play for free for your chance to redeem some serious prizes. Sign up now and collect your free welcome bonus at ChumbaCasino.com. Sponsored by Chumba Casino. No purchase necessary. VGW Group. Void where prohibited by law. 18 plus terms and conditions apply.
The only thing better than the holidays are holidays packed with NFL games. Kicking off Thursday, December 19th with the AFC West Showdown.
Touchdown Chargers!
Then a Saturday doubleheader. 12 games Sunday with a battle in Lambeau on Monday night.
Oh, what a play! What a catch!
And a Christmas Day doubleheader for the ages on Netflix.
Oh, sweet Marie!
That's how the NFL does the holidays.
You wake up, put on your Ray-Ban Meta glasses. You're living all in. You realize you need coffee. So you say,
Hey, Meta, how do I make a latte?
Brew 2 shots of espresso.
after Meta AI gets you caffeinated, you're ready for some beats.
Hey, Meta, play hip-hop music.
You head to meet some friends, but can't remember the place.
Hey, Meta, call Eva.
Ray-Ban Meta glasses, the next generation of AI glasses. Just say, hey, Meta, to harness the power of Meta AI. Shop now at meta.com/smartglasses.